Social media is giving you the same brain damage as cocaine. Not identical chemicals, but identical circuits. Your reward system, your focus, your sleep, it's all trained like a slot machine, beloveds. You think you're choosing to scroll. Sorry, bucko. You don't have any control. You've been lost that the moment you decided to get a smartphone. You've been engineered. You've been hoodwinked. You've been manipulated, beloveds. Okay? So understand that they moved the casino from the strip right into your motherfucking palm. And they're running the game without you even knowing the rules. They've always said it, and I said this in a video a couple weeks ago. They've always said you will own nothing and be happy. We are witnessing in real time losing ownership over our thoughts and our subconscious. Every swipe is a pull or push, whatever you want to call it, on that level, right? And the platform pays you in unpredictable hits, right? So a like here, a notification here, a hot take there. That's a variable reward schedule. And casinos have built trillion-dollar businesses, beloved, trillion-dollar empires on that plate. Now these tech giants, right, they're doing the exact same thing, and they've been emptying your focus instead of your wallet. Sometimes they hit your wallet too. So what's happening inside, right? So let's talk about it. Let's get nitty-gritty with the science. So what happens inside? Your midbrain, which is a small but crucial part of your brain's network system. So it fires a quick dopamine burst, and your cortex says, maybe one more. It won't hurt. Just a little something to take the edge off, baby. And your thumb obeys. So 10 minutes turns into an hour, because the next hit, right, might be the big one, right? It's not an accident. It's just an engineered reflex, beloved. And this is the proof you're getting work, beloveds. So let's run the tape, right? So you close one app, right? I want you to imagine this. You close one app and you immediately open it up again without even thinking. That's a loop. That's not a choice. The same goddamn app. Your conscious mind isn't even involved, right? And you feel like a phantom buzz in your pocket, right? That's a conditioned cue. It's not a message. So your nervous system is primed to react to the absence of the ping, right? You sit down, you want to lock in, right? So you sit down to execute your goals, and your brain reaches for that feed before it reaches for an idea. You prioritize cheap novelty, beloveds, over high value creation. So understand this. The more you rehearse instant novelty, the more regular life just feels flat and dull and boring as hell, and you want to get as far away from it, right? Things like books and deep work, real conversation, right? That's the tax. So you traded depth for drip, right? So that cheap hit, like it hits now, but it's emptying your tank later on, beloveds. And at night, you're still paying. Now, I done said this a million times, but, people just don't listen. They're going to continue to suffer, right? Blue light. It pushes your sleep timing way off, right? So now your circadian rhythm is off. Less deep sleep means less impulse control tomorrow, which means more scrolling to cope. That's a trap. It's craving as a service. So I'm telling you, beloveds, understand this. You're not unfocused by nature. You're just being trained by a machine that knows everything about you, every single detail, everything, right? So it's playing the same reward loop that hooks people to lines and lights. It's just packaged as culture, right? So like I said before, you're going to become what you are around, who you're around, with the things you intake. You have to curate everything you're intaking, beloveds. The feed is intermittent rewards, right? By design, right? Unpredictable likes, new faces, hot takes, right? Graphic, extreme content. Each swipe drops a phasic dopamine pop, right? Like a fast spike, but a fast fade, right? And you get on that loop of trying to find out what's next, right? Like what else is just like what I just saw, right? That unpredictable part is the hook, right? So your brain learns to hunt that next hit on a 10 to 30-second cycle. Same schedule casinos use to empty pockets. The exact same play the casinos use, and y'all buy the shit, caught up in the hype. Now it's empty and focus. So run the tape again. Cue it up, beloveds. Get the phone, you scroll, maybe a reward, tiny high, then a dip. That dip is important. After the spike, the baseline falls. So your system hates the down. It doesn't want that. So it reaches for another swipe to fix the feeling. Congratulations, beloved. You are now a dope fiend. Now you're looping and you're not choosing, right? You're not choosing, beloveds. What does that feel like? Micro pleasure. macro emptiness. You get a flick of, ooh, then a room full of, I don't know about that. Things that are productive don't feel good no more. Books feel slow. Deep work feels heavy. Even conversation feels like this is like a waste of my time. That's not personality, that's math. Your baseline dopamine has drifted down. So normal life can't buy your attention at market price. And peep the control, beloveds. Your attention stops launching from things from the inside, right? So your goals, your like your drive, like your plan, right? It starts launching from the outside. So badges and novelties and them little buzzes, right? Those notification pings, right? So at this point, you're living on externally triggered mode, trained to react every time the machine shakes the cup. So you got to understand how your brain works. So our brain uses two types of dopamine to keep you alive and focused, right? So first is tonic dopamine, right? So let's talk about this. So tonic dopamine versus phasic dopamine. So they're running a scam using one to kill the other. So let's start with tonic, right? So tonic dopamine. So think of this as like your baseline status, right? So your internal wealth, right? So this is like the steady, quiet, consistent flow, right? It's the feeling of deep satisfaction, of, peace of mind, following through on your structure and hitting your goals, right? It comes from slow rewards. So finishing a book, finishing a research paper, getting to the gym, getting some money in the gym, feeling like finishing a grueling workout, 6 hours of like deep work, right? Like waking up, feeling refreshed, right? Holding a meaningful conversation. So tonic dopamine gives you like endurance. It gives you resilience, right? And internal stability. It makes you a person of presence, right? A person who's not easily swayed and easily manipulated by every external stimulus. Now, the app designers, right? The app designers, the tech giants, the casino runners, they hit you with phasic dopamine, right? So this is the scam. This is the false profit. That fast spike, fast fade that we talked about earlier. It's the quick, unpredictable reward for the least amount of effort. It's cheap, beloveds. So notification, a surprise like, a video hook. And the worst part, y'all buy the shit, caught up in the hype. You see the trending topic, you see the flashing colors, and everything. It just starts to jump on your feed without questioning, like, why am I looking at this? Why do I want to be engaged in this? I be saying some certain stuff on my phone. I look at it, I be like, man, I ain't got time for that, man. Because timing is everything. My time is important, right? And I want to dispel this notion right now that you can't buy back your time, right? Everybody got 24 hours. You ain't buying 25, 26, 27. You ain't doing it, right? You only allotted 24. So whatever you choose to do with that, you do with that. But all this manosphere, brosphere talk about buying back your time, that just don't exist, right? So whenever something that I'm not personally engaged in, or it's not making me better, it's not helping my business, it ain't helping anything that I got going on, I ain't got time for it. But let's get back to the topic at hand. So now, when you try to sit down and, actually do business, right? Do the things that you need to do to progress, sit down, read a contract, work on your business, build your business up, talk to a man or a woman, talk to your lady about something real in your relationship. The brain says, this is boring. This is a waste of time. This doesn't hit like the feed, right? So that task starts to feel heavy, right? That book feels slow. You have to pay what we call a flatline tax because you moved the goalpost, beloved. You are now a dope fiend chasing that spike just to get back, beloveds, at a functional level. You are running on empty, constantly looking for that external jolt, right? So you lose your internal sovereignty, your peace of mind, because you outsource your mood to a $1 billion algorithm that only cares about your attention, beloved. They're not worried about nothing else. I don't know if y'all looked at the algorithm, what's going on. You can curate your algorithm all you want to. They're going to show you what they want to show you. Even if it's, you got 1 million plus people out here talking about things like educational, health, taxes, how to help you become the best version of you. They not showing that, beloveds. They showing the bullshit. So understand the math, beloved. Stop chasing the spike and start rebuilding the baseline, beloveds. They built the app on a variable reward schedule. The same one that makes that gambler in the slot machines pull that lever again and again and again and again, right? They know if they make the reward unpredictable, if they give you a baddies picture right now, right? They give you a funny comedy video later and a viral tweet in between. Your brain learns to hunt that hit on a short 10-second cycle. You become a dope fiend waiting for the next hit, beloveds. The moment that tiny high fades, your brain registers the dip. It doesn't like the low. So what does it do? It demands another swipe, right? You are now in a loop, not a choice. You are operating on an externally triggered mode, beloveds, trained to react every time the machine shakes the cup. So bottom line, beloveds, the feed isn't showing you content. It's just training your circuits second by second, right? Crumbs over meals. So keep playing that schedule and you'll keep paying. And things that are important to you, beloveds, your focus, your memory, your sleep, your peace of mind, right? That's why so many people right now are slugging themselves out with short form content. I mean, think about it. People have to do the craziest shit ever just to keep your attention for the first 5 seconds of a video. They've essentially become a hoe for the algorithm. But here's the thing, beloveds. This is not permanent damage. It's training. The same plasticity that wired the itch, wire discipline, beloveds. The same plasticity that wired the itch, wire discipline. But we've been trained to only want the itch, right? So reps built the reflex. Reps can also undo it. That's the thing about it, beloveds. So this is what you can do, right? So change the inputs. So you can't outwill a bad schedule, right? You can kill random cues, kill random checks. We go from compulsive hits to planned signals, beloved. So, what I would recommend if you're trying to, I would say detox yourself from these cheap dopamine hits. Give yourself 2 windows a day for social media, beloveds. 20 minutes each. Put the time on your phone. Outside those windows, the feed doesn't exist. You just told your brain, we pay dopamine on a schedule now, beloveds. And then train it. Train depth like a muscle, right? So, run, what I would say is run something called like an attention set, right? So run like a 25 to 30-minute attention set, right? Full screen, one task, phone completely out of reach, right? When the urge taps your shoulder to want to get that cheap dopamine hit from social media, don't negotiate. Note it on paper. Turn to the rep, beloveds. In each set with a micro reward, right? Something that you can control, right? Maybe a little snack here and there, right? Just something that pays you in a better sense than what social media is paying you right now, beloveds, right? So, the focus now becomes more on how am I bettering myself, right? And you start to regain actual focus instead of just worrying about what the next like is, the next notification is, whatever that may be. And then feed the tissue, beloveds. So when you're building depth, right, it needs building blocks. So you got to do the things that are important too. So that means sleep 7 to 8 hours. Put the phone out of reach, beloved, right? Like hydration, minerals. And one important mineral not a mineral, but rather a supplement that I want to talk about is lion's mane, right? Not as a buzz, but as a builder, right? Support the networks that we're talking about retraining. So the bottom line is plasticity isn't loyal, beloveds. It just serves, right? It serves whatever is in constant loop, right? Whatever you constantly repeat. So, you've been rehearsing fragmentation, right? But starting today, start rehearsing clarity, beloveds. So with liamanes, right? Here's the thing. It has 2 compounds in it, right? Fruiting body and mycelium. Together, they press the button on something called nerve growth factor, which is the growth that signals your neurons to sprout new branches, right? And it stabilizes and, maintain the brain's network. So do this. Picture like roots, right? Finding water, then splitting into more roots, right? Those are called dendrites, which is a short branch extension of a nerve cell in your hippocampus, which is responsible for things like memory, your prefrontal circuits, right? Which is responsible for planning, getting connection more dense, right? So more lanes equals better traffic. Okay, so what the hell does that mean, Najee? In layman's term, this means learning gets sticky, right? So new info doesn't slide off your mind as easy as it once did. Now, it's actually grabbing hold of new information, right? So things like concepts, names, ideas, right? You get few of those like, what was that again? Or, I don't remember that, right? Like few of those moments start to dwindle down. Focus, it widens, right? Like it stretches far, right? So holding one thought, it costs less energy. So you're not wrestling your brain every 5 minutes. The network is carrying, right? You're not chasing cheap dopamine hits that waste your time and energy, right? Time and energy you can be putting back into yourself, beloveds, to make yourself better, to put yourself in a better position. Recall, right? So how you recall information, that speeds up. So that with that tip of the tongue, what was I about to say? Or what was that? Like that starts to fade. less brain fog, right? So you reach and it's there. You're sharper. You're building that foundation. You're building that base, right? So understand this. Like stimulants, like they rent performance by squeezing more out of the same wiring, beloveds. Lion's mane owns performance by improving the wiring, right? So stronger maintenance, right? So you're watering the garden. You're not spray painting, right? So another thing is that we have to stop training our brain for cheap dopamine hits, for crumbs rather, right? Stop building it for meals. So lion's mane is the construction crew for your brain, beloveds. So nerve growth factor on site. Dendrites are multiplying, right? Like your network is becoming more efficient. That's how you take a slot machine trained mind and turn it into a fucking searchlight, beloveds. But quality first. So if you're rebuilding circuits, don't feed them trash. Quality matters, beloved. At everybody's use, our lion's mane is third-party tested, and it's, it lists all the declared beta glucans. It's third-party tested. There's no filler, no cheap ingredients, beloved. What you see on the label is what you get, right? No mystery blends, no fairy dust, none of that BS, right? So how do you want to take lion's mane, right? So if I was suggesting for you to take lion's mane, I would suggest you to take it in the morning. If you want to split it, I would say take it early morning and then take one capsule early in the morning, split it, take another in the early afternoon, right? Never late nights, never. This is construction, beloveds. We're building. This is not fireworks. Consistency over mega doses, beloved. Give it anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. Let the lion's mane work its magic, beloved. You kill the casino. You kill the infinite scroll, beloveds. Delete the apps or move them to desktop only. So you can only get on it when you're on your computer, right? No app, you don't have no reflex. Schedule your dopamine 2 times a day, beloveds. 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Put the time on your phone or whatever. When the window closes, phone goes face down in another room. You run the clock, beloveds, not the feed. And then even things like Grayscale on your phone can help. So strip the colors, right? Like strip the impulse. You'll tap less because there's nothing loud. There's no loud colors to actually chase. And then replace the loop, beloved, on purpose. So every time your thumb get that itch, right? Swap in something like a 5-minute walk or, 10 pages of a book. Call your mother, beloveds. When's the last time you talked to your mother, beloveds? Or just do something constructive, right? A constructive rep towards like a skill that you're trying to build. Write a paragraph. Learn a term. Just do anything besides that, beloveds. Become undeniable by turning that cue into a bill. You do this for 7 days, 2 weeks, beloved. Pull the receipts, right? More pages read, more steps, more actual work getting done. That's a new cue reward pairing, beloved. And that's how you take your attention back. Social apps have trained your reward system to chase crumbs. Lion's mane grows the network that chases meaning, beloveds. Water the mind, grow the brain, and pick a feed that actually feeds you, beloved. So, with that being said, man, I hope this episode was helpful to you guys. If you're trying to detox and wean yourself off of that digital dope, that digital crack, beloveds. I know it's hard, but you gotta do it. If you got aspirations for yourself. That's only if you want something for yourself, beloveds. If you feel like this is holding you back, then you got to do it. If not, then just, hey, keep being a dope fiend, beloveds. But with that being said, that's my time. To the next time, man. I see you when I see you. God bless. I'm out.